The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert, and we are ready to bring you some feel good vibes this morning. Our feel good topic of the day is generational wealth, and we are talking about Black billionaires. Our feel good vibe of the day is joke time with Jackie. So do make sure you stick around and stay tuned for this last, because Jackie always comes with the jokes. Some of them are corny, some of them are not, but you got to stay tuned to figure out which one she's got for us today. Before we get into that, let's see who is tuned in with us as we get ready for our feel good warm up. Jack, I see we have Sean Smith. Good morning to you, Sean Smith. Thank you for joining us bright and early. As you're joining in, let us know in the comments where you are tuning in from. Say good morning to us. We would love to hear from you. We're going to start our Feel Good warm-up, and I actually want to bring this onto the screen so hopefully y'all can see that. We're going to be talking about the fact that Rihanna is a billionaire. So before we ask you all to share your thoughts with us, Jackie, what did you think when you heard that Rihanna became a billionaire at age 33? Because she's in our generation, so it's not like Black wealth is that far-reaching for us. So what were your thoughts on it?
So I'm scrolling, right? So I actually saw it on Instagram. So I was scrolling and I saw something about Rihanna, and I love Rihanna. You know, she's my age. I used to go to Barbados all the time. So I have friends that are friends with her, acquaintances with her. And so I felt like I knew her. So I felt like she was like one of our friends. Obviously, you know, we grew up listening to her music, everything like that. So I felt like one of my friends one night was like, oh my God, yes! Making headway, you know. Everybody's coming up. So I was very excited. She puts in so much work.
And so she did become a billionaire, not just necessarily from her music, well, not even from her music. It's from her Fenty brands. It's from all of the other things that she's done. She's done a lot in the beauty space. With Fenty Beauty, she has her lingerie line now. She has just so much going on. So it only makes sense that she was able to, you know, amass that wealth. So we want to know in the comments, let us know your thoughts on Rihanna becoming a billionaire. Did you think someone like Rihanna would be able to do that? And she's from an island too, which I think speaks volumes for those of us that are, you know, still on the island, still trying to make it happen. You can actually, you know, amass wealth. You don't have to be trying to amass billions of dollars, but, you know, if that's your goal, it's possible because Rihanna did it. And I see that we have Sheldon Jones. Good morning to you, Sheldon. Thank you for tuning in with us. I know that I can say for me personally, Rihanna becoming a billionaire only further solidifies the fact that it's possible to gain wealth.
Yes.
It's absolutely possible to be someone who is not necessarily feeling like they have to live paycheck to paycheck or feeling like they have to, you know, struggle in order to make ends meet, because wealth is out there. Like Rihanna's story, she started back in the mid 2000s, I want to say. I can't remember. I know we were in high school.
It was like 2007, because I was away in Tennis Academy when she first came out.
And I remember when she first came out, because her album was Music of the Sun, and like she was such an island girl. Like you could not tell me that Rihanna did come from an island.
Funny replay.
Like she has the like little crop top, the oversized jeans, and I was like, that is so island girl. And just to see her go from there to where she is today, it's one of those things that's very inspirational. I know she doesn't want to be a role model. She said that in an interview, like someone had asked her, how does she feel about being a role model? She's like, I didn't want to be a role model. That wasn't my intention. So I'm not a role model. Like, I don't see myself as that. She is very inspirational though. Like, whether she wants to be a role model or not, she definitely is. So shout outs to Rihanna for becoming a billionaire. I think, what is her net worth? It was 1.7 billion. She's estimated. That's now her net worth, $1.7 billion.
And I love how she did it off of like having a good, like, you know, good intentions. She went out and she was being inclusive. She saw that there was something in the market that was missing for the next person, so she created it. There wasn't makeup that would, for example, there wasn't makeup that could match me. There were other brands, and I'd have to get 2 of their products to mix to get one that worked for me. Whereas hers, as soon as I tested it, I let it dry, and I was just like, I've never found something that matches me one time. And then even like she has the lingerie that she has for plus size. She just did something in June for Pride Month that was, you know, for that, for the community. And it's just always something that's out there. And of course, she goes to other countries to help, like with, it's kind of like Habitat for Humanity. So she's out there helping build houses, bring fresh water. So she's just all around doing a banging job.
She does the dang thing, that's for sure. We have a comment here from Sheldon Jens. He says, wealth has become much more accessible, not to dismiss her work, but there have been several celebrities who've made a fortune beyond their main personas. Well done to her. And I think that speaks volumes that people are doing that, because it further solidifies this idea of creating multiple streams of income. Like, just because even Jay-Z starting out in the music industry, switching over to fashion, starting the Rock Nation music label, then the title purchase, and now he's on the board of Square. It's like, you don't just stay in the thing that kind of puts you on the map or got you started. You do have to diversify your income. As people talk about diversifying their investment portfolio, diversify your income, because all of those things together will help you amass wealth. So that's definitely a great point. And I see we have another comment from Sean Smith. Jack.
That's great for her, and hopefully she will show her islands people how to do it. I know she's very involved,
and not just her
in the
islands,
community.
all of us, we as a nation, we as a region need these keys. Like, we all need these keys. But go ahead, Jack. What were you saying?
Oh, no, I'm saying I know she's just very involved in her island, so I just don't see her leaving it just unknown. I don't think she's gonna tell you all her secrets, but she'll help some people.
And I don't even think it's the secrets. It's like, how to build a brand from the ground up. Because I mean, yes, it's Rihanna, so she already has like a big audience anyway. So it was kind of difficult for Savage by Fenty and even Beauty by Fenty to fail, because she has such a big audience naturally, and she's a great person. Like, people like her. However, there were still things that they had to do to set it up that I think, to Sean's point, would be great for her to share, because there are people probably in her island, and even here in Bermuda, like Dove and Butterfly. It's a beauty brand that could probably, benefit from some of the keys that Rihanna has on how to build, a global brand, because it's not just in the US. Like, people buy that thing all over the world. So,
and like to that point, when Fenty first came out, I wasn't excited about it. I was just like, this looks basic. I was expecting way more, but comparing it from then to now, totally different. The marketing is better. The fashion shows are better. Everything is just better. So I don't know if it was her team or she had more creative input, whatever it is, but she has a great team around her, and that's important. I think we mentioned that yesterday. We mention it almost every day. Like, your circle has to be tight.
It does, and your circle has to want to win and want to see you win, because it's your circle could want to win, but not necessarily want you to win. Like, they could be just around you because they know that you're going places, and they kind of want to, like, use
take along to you.
Take along with you. But it's definitely a great thing to see, like, the team that she has beside her, behind her, in front of her, they're all like, rooting for her to win, and by extension, they're also winning as well. So I see we have another comment from Sean Smith. He says, outside of Rihanna, I have read stories of children in their early teens that have become millionaires, which is mind-blowing. Exactly.
That YouTube.
it's the access to the technology and the tools, right? Because at one point it was only open to one group of people, which we'll probably touch on in our Feel Good topic of the day. So do make sure you stay tuned. If you're just joining us, drop in the comments your thoughts on Rihanna becoming a billionaire at the age of 33. She is now estimated as being worth $1.7 billion. So shout out to her. She's only second behind Oprah in the billionaires list, which is dope. 2 Black women are on that list, and shout outs to us. We are definitely doing the darn thing. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with our Feel Good topic of the day. So you do not want to go anywhere.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jacky Lambert, and we're going to get into our Feel Good topic of the day. And today we're talking about Black wealth. Now, we have to start this off. I feel like I'm frozen, but it's okay. I'm going to keep talking.
It's okay. I can hear you.
I think you can hear me. So today's Feel Good topic is generational wealth. We're talking about Black billionaires. We started off by sharing that Rihanna has now been dubbed, she's estimated as being worth $1.7 billion. So she is the newest Black billionaire. And so we wanted to bring into the conversation this story that we found related to Dr. Dre. So I'm going to scroll it back up so that you can see the title, as Jacky and I kind of share with you a summary of this article. So basically, Dr. Dre and his soon-to-be ex-wife, Nicole Young, are going through a divorce. She filed for divorce back in 2020, June of 2020. She filed for this divorce, and it's been messy, to say the least. If you follow any pages like The Shade Room that share the celebrity gossip, all of that's been kind of come into the conversation. And reading this article, I know for me personally, Jack, and we'll get the audience to share their opinions as well. Basically, the story is when she filed for this divorce, they were going back and forth around, like, you know, how much spousal support she should get. They had a prenup, which apparently Dr. Dre ripped up. And according to Nicole, Dr. Dre ripped it up. And according to him, that's not true. And he thinks that the prenup should be upheld. And just reading through that article, I feel like it kind of makes me a little bit nervous about marriage, because it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like, me personally, this is my personal opinion, I feel like everyone genuinely goes into marriage thinking it's going to be a forever relationship. Like, I do believe that people get into marriage to stay to the end. And then when it's, you know, it comes to light that they want to get a divorce, these two have been together for 24 years and they have 2 adult children. So it's not like they just got married yesterday and now she's asking for this money. It blows my mind that it got to this point where it's messy. And now she's asking for close to $300,000 a month in spousal support. So the first thing we want to know is, what do you think about, you know, someone like Dr. Dre, who is also a billionaire, having to possibly pay his ex-wife close to $300,000 a month until she remarries or finds another or enters another domestic partnership, which I guess depending on where she is, there could be different, you know, guidelines, restrictions, rules to that, like what, how that's defined. So let us know in the comments your thoughts on the Dr. Dre situation. I'm going to let Jacky start it off, and I hope my screen works for me to like pull this out. So, there we go. So Jack, what are your thoughts on it? Even though
So I've been watching this story for a little bit, but not like, I'm not invested in it too much. So I just kind of see it. I'm like, oh, wow, this is still going on. That's crazy. But I can't get over the fact that she wants $300,000. And I'm trying to figure out what type of lifestyle they were living to be paying. What was it? $24 million a month for their living expenses?
Well, it's not that high. It's not that high. It was like 2.7.
I'm sorry, 2 point something million. Sorry.
It's still millions. It's still millions.
It's still millions. That's the part right there. I'm like, millions. Jeez, that's crazy. A month? Like, wow. I'm still trying to get over that, but $300,000. I just want to know. I want to get a breakdown, and I can't find it anywhere. I do want a breakdown of what exactly her living expenses are for her to need that much, and is she getting the money to help finance their children that are grown?
And so, we did in the article that there is a distinction between it's spousal support. It's not child support,
right,
because her children
exactly.
are adult children. And so there is a distinction between the two, because me personally, I thought it was low-key the same thing. Like, I do know that child support is specifically supposed to support your child.
No, but I'm wondering if she's slipping that in there to try and like give it to them, because he's not giving any money to his 38-year-old child. So I'm wondering if she's trying to take on some of her financial obligations into her demand for $300,000.
And so,
and trying to do it like a sneaky way or not.
And since you mentioned that, I do want to bring in that part of the conversation as well. So we do have another story, and I know why my screen was frozen, because I was trying to share the screen. So I'm going to share the screen again, but I'm going to take Jacky and I out of it so that y'all don't see me frozen on the screen. But we do have another part to this. There's another part to this story. So let me just bring that in real quick. So Dr. Dre has multiple children for different women. And let me bring the banner down so that you can read this better. So he has a 38-year-old daughter who I guess he was supporting up until maybe a year and change ago. And the daughter is currently homeless. She's living in a rental car. It's not even a car that she owns. She has 4 children. And apparently, according to her, we didn't get Dr. Dre's part in this article, but according to her, he stopped speaking to her when she started to do interviews and appearances about their relationship, their estranged relationship. And so now she's doing things like the DoorDash in America and Uber Eats. She lives in California. And so she's doing DoorDash and Uber Eats, and she does also work as an assembly worker over there in the US. And so her story basically is that she has she needs financial support from her dad, and she's 38 years old. And so we also want to know your opinion on at what point do people stop supporting their children? So the first thing, overall, what are your thoughts on the Dr. Dre situation, whether it's the divorce, the messy divorce, or the fact that he's not supporting his child? Because the articles definitely are one-sided. I do feel like it's not sharing his side of the story. It's definitely the shade room. The radar one definitely shared both the Nicole side and Dre's side, but the shade room is definitely just the daughter's side. And as you guys are typing that in the comments, we're going to bring in some comments from the audience. So Jamal says that you got him on the shade room yesterday, Jacky, because he'd never heard of it or never been a part of he was in what do they call them? Roomies. They're called roomies. People that follow the shade room are called roomies. I didn't know that.
I never knew.
That's how they start their captions. The captions should start like, "Hey, roomies," and
see, I don't really pay attention to them. I don't pay attention to it. I look for the funny stuff, and if I see something that's massy that I don't know the people, or I'm just like, this is too much. Like how you say yesterday, disturb your peace. I'll be like, too heavy. Next.
Yeah, and I look at the captions and I look at how people are in the comments, because I'm like, from a social media perspective, I'm like, how do they talk to their audience?
I do enjoy the comments, because I'm like, let's see what they think. And because, most of them watch these celebrities more than I do. So that's where the real juicy is and the real story is, because, Americans love the celebrities. So I look for their comments, and then some of them will have arguments, and those are the ones I go to. I'm like, oh, he did what? That's a lot. Like, you guys are so invested.
Jesse gets the tea from the comments. So speaking of Rihanna being a newly minted billionaire, Janae says, talk about Black girl magic. To start as an artist and then branch into other interests is phenomenal. She is not a one-trick pony, and that is inspiring. Absolutely. Like, shout outs to Rihanna for being the newest member of the Billionaire Club. It's not a Billionaire Boys Club anymore, because there's women up in that group. So we're just going to have to call it the Billionaire Club, because I would love to see it. I'd love to see more of us in that space.
Absolutely.
So speaking of that breakdown, Jamal says the shade room probably have it somewhere. I'm pretty sure they would. They probably just waiting to see if people are interested in that or not.
They are. I know it's there because those guys get into. It's got to be a bunch of people, and they are definitely investigative journalists.
They are. They're Chris around the journalist court. So we have this comment from Sean Smith, Jack.
Well, if you upgraded her lifestyle to flying private luxury cars, hotels, etc., brother man is got to pay. Yeah, but why didn't he teach her to make her own money so that if by chance this doors go south, that he don't have to do all of it? I don't know. I feel like she should have learned some tricks. The only reason I could see this making sense if she played a vital role in him becoming the success that he is. Mm-hmm, she was there as his manager. She was there as what is that?
It was a bug. It was a friend. That's why I came to say hi to the audience.
Got my door open. I need to stop doing that. As a manager, as she was making sure he was, had clothes, cooking, cleaning, make sure that he was good and putting in that work. Then I can understand it.
So then we actually have another comment from Sheldon Jen. So he asks, I question whether the spouse had taken advantage of the 24 years together to contribute anything financially to the partnership, which makes her feel entitled to so much after the marriage. And that's actually your point too.
Yeah.
It's literally the same point. So I want to bring it in because that is a valid point, because there are some situations where, the spouse does support the breadwinner spouse, we'll call it that. The supporting role spouse does, kind of assist the one that's, earning that bread to make it. So then it does make sense that you want to get that support. However, without knowing
he could have gone through a rough patch. Sorry.
No problem. And without knowing the personal details, we're definitely speaking from a very high level abstract, point of view. Like, if this was your situation, how would you feel? Like, do you think that is that excessive? I definitely don't say that. So we have a comment from Monica Dunstan. She says, I'm with Terry. Where's Dre's side of the story? But insane alimony payouts is nothing new in the celebrity world. There's a female celebrity who's paying out crazy amounts to her ex-husband as well. That's interesting because very seldom.
Halle Berry had to pay her spouse. And there was another one. Who was it? Where she's paying spousal and child support to her husband, and it's about the same amount as this. It was a white couple. Who are they?
And I'm definitely out of the loop with celebrity news because I
mean, look at Mariah Carey. She wants that amount of money just for her ex-fiance wasting her time.
Look, Mariah is a diva. She is in a category all her own. She is a bona fide diva. Bona fide. There is no one greater than Mariah Carey in the diva category. I do not care what you say, unless you have to come with some real receipts for me to believe that there's anyone greater in the diva category than Mariah. I feel like she would. I saw recently somebody's parent had created these Christmas dolls of Mariah Carey and was giving them. The mom was giving it to the son for Christmas, and he did it every year. And then Mariah Carey had tweeted okay, it's time for me to start making money off of this. And now she has her own Christmas doll things, and I'm Christmas ornaments, and I'm just see this diva, she just can't let the lady have something. Just let the lady have something. She just came into the conversation, said forget that. So we have a comment here from Sean Smith. He says, can you say trust funds control never ends? I absolutely agree that and I don't know if they're living in the marriage, I wonder if he was giving her money to support herself, and why didn't she just create a trust fund of her own, or start her own investing, so that if it did, like I said, I don't think people get into marriage thinking it's going to end. But if it does end, you have your own safety net so that you can just say, well, forget your $300K. I'm already a billionaire too.
Yeah. Because there's a saying out there, it's called mad money, that every time he in your relationship, you put money to the side, you start a different account, and every time he makes you mad, you put money to the side just in case one day it's the finale. And now you got mad money. But
I totally agree with that. I just don't
understand why she doesn't have her own savings, so that I'm not saying, obviously, you keep saying it, nobody goes into the marriage thinking it's going to end, but you do want to come out better than you went in.
Exactly. And maybe that's how she's looking at it. So we have this comment. We have this comment from Monica Dunstan, Jack.
How can a prenup be ripped up and now considered null and void? Wouldn't all parties, including lawyers, have copies? And see, that's my thing. It's just like I earn. Yeah, I don't see how a legal document can be made void just because I was emotional and was just like, don't, after this and rip it up, we're gonna last forever. That's just a romantic gesture. It doesn't last.
But even still, like, I just don't see how she brought that into the conversation as if that was gonna hold water, because I'm just like,
I could rip up my parking ticket. It's still there. Like, what?
I was like, there's no way. And I think the only way that a prenup can be null and void is through another legal document. Like, I don't see,
Right.
We're not lawyers, so this isn't us trying to give, legal advice or saying that we understand this from a legal perspective. I just think from a lay person, like common sense, if I'm looking at this situation, if a man rips up a prenup in front of me, I'm going to be like, okay, well, where's all the copies? I need all the copies, and then I need to go to a judge or a lawyer and confirm if he rips this up, does this mean this no longer is valid? Because
unless it was before he signed it, but this is years into the marriage, which means he signed it and you signed it.
They both signed it. But,
right.
And definitely only one-sided part of the article for the daughter, but with the divorce, I think it's very interesting that the woman is speaking out. Well, no, I don't think it's very interesting. I think that's part of the core. That's how women tend to be vocal. One of the things that I find interesting is that Dr. Dre has, from what I can see, nothing to say as it relates to his divorce. He's just letting her kind of, I guess, drive the train, which could be working against or for him, depending on which side of divorce she would stand, or this type of divorce she would stand. Because taking the personal out of it from a financial space, I don't see, even in California, I don't know how expensive it is to live in California. So if you know in the comments, let us know how expensive it is to live in Cali. Because if $300,000 a month is what you need to live your best life in California, then I guess you deserve.
She could move to like DR. She could move to Colombia. I wouldn't say Cuba right now, but there are other places where she can move that she will get a good bang. Costa Rica, you can get a good bang for your buck. Nobody will know who you are, and you can live your best life, zip lining, everything, and you could do it for like $10,000 a month. So if she does get the $300,000, I suggest she does what she hasn't been doing and bank majority of it, and then live off of like $10,000 a month and bank the rest.
Absolutely. So if you're just joining us, let us know your thoughts on the Dr. Dre situation. He's going through a messy divorce from his soon-to-be ex-wife. I think legally they're separated, so legally they're single. They asked the judge to do that because they're still going through this divorce situation. So let us know your thoughts on it. And we actually also want to know, at what age do you think a parent should stop supporting their child, regardless of the wealth? Because there's been a lot of talk around, like, because he has all this money, he should just do it anyway. Like, he should just take care of his daughter anyway, because he has commas upon commas in his account, and it's going to be like a drop in the bucket, or not even a drop in the bucket for him. And so if you're just joining us, we did share that one of Dr. Dre's children, his 38-year-old daughter, is currently homeless. She's living in a car by herself. She has 4 children who are all staying with friends. They're not staying in the car with her. But apparently over 18 months ago, Dr. Dre stopped supporting her financially because she started to do some interviews talking about their strained relationship. So he cut off financial support for her. So we want to know in the comments, at what age do you think a parent should stop supporting their child, regardless of how many commas they have in their account? So Jack, you got to start this off. At what age do you think it's like, okay, enough is enough?
I feel like you should get at least 4 years out of college to set yourself up. And that's like actually max 4 years, because most times you come out of college, you already have a job or whatever. And even if she didn't go to college, she has her father's name that could have gotten her some connections to get into a decent gig. I'm just trying to figure out how you're 38 with 4 kids and you're asking your dad, like your dad's been supporting you all these years, and you're asking for it back after you've been doing interviews about your strained relationship and expect him to still reward you. Because if it's about a strained relationship, then obviously you're sending a lot of negative messages out there. But where are the fathers of the 4 kids, like why aren't they helping you with the kids?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say at least, max 25. After 25 to 27, a little bit of help here and there is fine, but to completely finance your life, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, audience, let us know in the comments your thoughts. I will share because this is like my favorite topic. Finances are my favorite topic to talk about. And I think one of the things that is unfortunate is if up until the age 37, she was getting some support from her dad, or 36, she was getting some support from her dad. It's the same thing. Like, at what point were you learning how to manage your money? And if Dr. Dre didn't just become a billionaire, just out of the blue. Like, he did some things, like he invested, he has cash, and he also has stock. So he's done some things. So at what point were you asking your dad for advice around your finances? And we don't know their personal relationship, we don't know their personal situation, so we don't necessarily know what conversation she was having with him. But those are some of the things that I think come into this conversation, because I don't think at any point a parent should 100% take care of their kid, no matter how much money they have. Like, to me, that just seems absurd, because what you're teaching the child is that money is not something that you work for. It's just something that's given to you. And so you don't value money. So you're willing to just blow it, spend it. And you're not teaching that child how to be wealthy. You're not teaching that child how to take what you've
just
been able
dependent.
to amass. Exactly. You're creating this relationship of codependency, which there's
a liability.
Your liability. And there's a statistic that I read in The Wake Up Call, which is a book about Jay-Z's album 444. And the statistic is that I think 30% of wealth is lost in the first generation after the generation that built it. So, your kids would likely lose it. And then within 3 generations, 90% of that wealth is gone. So that means that if you're just giving money to your child, that means 3 out of 10
times. You gotta make them sweat so that they don't want to lose it. I mean, for example, my niece doesn't just get whatever she wants. She wants to go swim in the pool. You gotta clean it. Like, you want to earn this house, you gotta do X, Y, and Z, because we didn't work our tails off to get this just so you can lose it as the 3rd generation because you're lazy and you're entitled. He raised an entitled child that thought that going and talking to the media was going to give her a better relationship.
Well, then, correction, he didn't raise her. Well, it didn't seem like.
Well, you know what I mean.
He divorced her mom at age 5, and then they lost communication, it seemed. So I guess that also comes into the conversation too, right? Because maybe it's maybe it's her trying to create a connection with her dad and knowing that money is the one thing that he cares about. Maybe that's kind of how she took it. Very interesting that up until the age 36, 37, it kind of all boiled over for her financially. We had this comment from Sean Smith. Jack?
It depends on the situation, because I will always help my children as long as they have their own income. Help to buy a house, starting a business. Exactly. That's different. Like, but to completely bail your child out.
Yeah.
Over and
then he
again.
also says, if you're bun, then heck no. And that's kind of, don't know her situation, so we're not speaking over her life. It's just one of those things where, because I've seen some commentary say, well, he should at least pay her rent.
But he was obviously helping her prior to this a little bit, because he just stopped paying over a year ago. So he obviously was just like, you know what? You're not doing anything to benefit and help yourself. You're just a leech. I can't do this anymore. So he by the looks of it, and I'm just obviously assuming.
And it's also from her side too, because she's been sharing.
So exactly, this is her story. Like, this isn't from Dre's side. This is her side. Like, you just exposed yourself as a leech in my mind.
And it's really sad, because her story is not like, it's not all roses and, in the garden. Like, it's sad that she's having to live in her car. It's sad that she has 4 kids that she can't support. And it's also, it brings into this conversation the issue of being able to generate wealth in the Black community. And like, this idea of having to struggle is the only way that we're ever going to be able to have an existence, which is crazy, because your dad is a billionaire. And at what point do you, even if he doesn't support you, at what point do you say, well, forget him, I'm going to go and make my own money. Like, I'm going to become my own self-made millionaire, my own self-made, whatever. Like, at what point do you just kind of take responsibility for the fact that
at what point does the hustler in you activate? Like, I maybe it's because I've always had a job. Like, I've been working since I was 12. And then I've always had like an extra job. So I taught tennis and I worked at Music World. I taught tennis and I chartered a boat. I taught tennis and I'm on, like, it was always 2 to 3 jobs. Gosh, I wasn't having a good season one year and I went and became a waitress and tried to be a bartender. Like, I couldn't just sit around idly waiting for somebody else to give me a handout. That's why I can't understand it, because I can't be that person. I can't just sit around and be like, oh, well, a job hasn't fallen in my lap, so I'm not, like, I'll be at McDonald's spinning that sign.
She said spinning that sign. Yeah, when I see those people, I will like, bless your heart, because that's the fun job.
I'll probably break somebody's window. I'm like,
might just throw it across the street, like, bless.
Maybe I come to McDonald's.
Every time I used to see those folks out there, like, I used to like legit send a little positive vibe their way, because I was thinking like, I mean, great that they have a job. I think that's dope. I hate those jobs. I think they're annoying, because it's like, you really had to, this is the job you had to give them. But I also think like, for me, that's I know we talk about in Bermuda, there's certain jobs that Bermudians will never do. When I lived in America, that was the one job I could not see myself doing. I could not see myself doing that, because I don't think I had the proper hand-eye coordination for it, and I just feel like I would cost the business more money. So I was just
That's why I wasn't a majorette. That's why I wasn't a majorette. I have hand-eye coordination for everything else. Like, I could toss it up and catch it, but I can't.
They do some things, and I legit sometimes like, and it used to bother me because I'm right there on the like sidewalk, and so it's like as you're driving, like I used to be so amazed, but I'm also trying to pay attention to the road. So like they definitely, shout out to them people, because I really appreciate them. Definitely, they're doing the darn thing. So we have this comment from Monica Dunstan before we go into our feel good vibe of the day, Jack.
Exactly. Conversations about around financial literacy should be ongoing based on the stage your child is in, so that they learn to handle finances and don't squander it all. Yeah.
Exactly. And then we have this comment from Sean Smith. He says, we as parents also want a better life for our children. Hence, we give them everything they want, not what they need, to our own detriment. And I think that's probably what may have happened with Dr. Dre and his daughter. Like, he probably felt bad that he wasn't there at one point in her life, or that he made this promise and he didn't keep it.
Overcompensation.
So yeah, maybe he overcompensated, but then maybe his financial advisor said, bruh, this is not smart. Like,
this is not going to end well.
This is not currently ending well. This is currently not ending well, and now look at us. So absolutely, let us know in the comments, at what age do you think a parent should stop supporting their child regardless of what? We're gonna get into our feel good vibe of the day, and today it's Jackie. She is going to be giving us some jokes as we wrap up today's show. So as you know, as we always ask, make sure you run up a reaction on Facebook. If you're watching, we like the care reaction, but we don't mind if you use other reactions. Drop in the comments an emoji reaction to Jackie's joke. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button. And for those of you on Twitter, make sure you run up those hearts. Jackie is going to take it away with the joke time, and I'm ready to sit back and laugh, maybe.
So this is the first one, and it's kind of a question. What do you give a hurt lemon?
A hurt lemon? A bruise?
Lemonade.
Boo! Lemonade.
Okay. So why do the math teachers make good dancers? I feel like you'd like this one.
Why do the math teachers make good dancers? They multiply.
Because they have good algorithm.
Algorithm. That's a good one. I like that one. I did like that one.
I had to do this one for Terri.
I like that one. Let us know in the comments what you thought about Jackie's jokes today. Drop the emojis in the comment section, or run up the reactions if you're watching on Facebook. Jackie and I hope that today's Feel Good Vibe has you ready to make it a great one. Thank you for watching this episode of Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. We trust we'll see you tomorrow for another Feel Good conversation. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.